Azalea. I hung up the phone with Liam. Thank goddess he was alright. I grabbed a long sweater and made my way to the inn. I put my new phone in my pocket just in case he called again. I wasn't sure I wanted to ask him what he was doing. I didn't want to be involved in pack matters. I may not be a rogue, but I wasn't exactly part of the pack. Growing up, everyone made it clear that I had no place there. Thinking about this made my stomach turn. Things were going really well with Liam, though. He was amazing, and he made me feel safe. I did not know I could feel this way, especially with him. He was so patient and thoughtful. But this would not last forever. He would eventually want me to come to the pack with him. I just didn't know if I could do that. I don't know that I could voluntarily go back to that place where I wasn't wanted. Tears welled up in my eyes as I started freshening up the rooms for our late arriving guests. I no longer wanted to imagine my solitary, single existence. I wanted to think about being with Liam, about being happy with Liam. I didn't know if I could be a Luna. I couldn't even shift. How was I supposed to take care of a whole pack? They would never accept or respect a Luna with traitor blood and no wolf. I dashed the tears from my eyes as I finished preparing the rooms. I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself. I needed to get myself downstairs. The guests would be arriving soon. I waited at the desk for the guests to arrive. I busied myself with looking over the check-ins and outs for tomorrow as well as the work order for the plumber coming in. The door opened, and I looked up to welcome the guests. All the blood drained from my face when I saw who entered the inn. Gwen was walking towards me with another guy. She had a prissy look on her face, meaning that she clearly did not want to be here. Why was she here? Was she going to recognize me? I immediately dropped my gaze down to the papers in front of me. Welcome, I said quietly. We called a bit ago. Checking in for 2 nights? The guy said politely. Yes, your rooms are all ready to go for you. I just need a credit card, I said, still quiet and avoiding their looks. The guy handed me a credit card, and I proceeded to run it. I peeked up for a moment to look at Gwen. She had a questioning look on her face as her eyes bore into me. Please, goddess, do not figure out who I am. I do not want any trouble. After the card cleared, I handed it back to them. Here are your keys. You will go up the stairs, and it will be the 3rd and 4th doors on the left. Numbers are attached to the key. I will ask that you please keep noise to a minimum. It is very late, and we have other guests this evening. Complimentary breakfast service begins at 7 a.m., I said, handing over their keys. Welcome to the Blue Moon Inn, and I hope you enjoy your stay. I peeked up with a small smile. Even if I didn't want her here, Gwen was still a customer, and this was my job. Thank you, ma'am. We will be going straight to bed. Good night, the guy said as he turned to go to his room. He paused, waiting for Gwen to move as well. She continued to stare at me. Gwen, let's go, he whispered. She finally snapped out of it and nodded to him. She began scowling again as she grabbed her bag, and they headed for the stairs. I let out a breath. I was going to have to do everything in my power to be invisible for the next 2 days. Luckily, we had Lemon coming in tomorrow. She was a high schooler here who worked part-time just a couple of days a week. She could work the desk, and I could stay out of sight for a good portion of the day. As long as Gwen didn't figure out who I was, she had no reason to mess with me. Staying out of the way and away from her would help keep me off her mind, I hoped. She did not look all too happy to be here, so maybe she would stay in her room and not bother with the rest of the inn. I finished organizing the paperwork to make things easier in the morning before locking up and heading to the back. I wanted to crawl into my bed and get a little sleep before tomorrow. Part of me wished that Liam was waiting back in my apartment for me. As I walked across the dewy grass, my phone made a little dinging sound. I stopped and pulled it from my pocket. I turned it on to see I had a text message from Liam. Why didn't he go to sleep? Liam. Couldn't sleep until I knew you were safe in bed. Just needed to know you were okay. Reading his text message made my heart race a little. I was falling for him so fast it was kind of scary. Me. You didn't have to wait up for me. That was very sweet. I am headed to bed now. I walked to my front door and my phone dinged again before I could open it. A smile spread across my face. But before I could open his message, there was a rustling in the bushes about 30 feet away from my cottage near the forest line. Fear swept through me, and I quickly opened my door, slid into my apartment, and closed the door behind me. I swiftly locked the deadbolt and stepped back from the door. I needed to calm down. It was probably a little raccoon or something. Why was I so scared? I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing heart. My phone dinged again, and I opened it up to see both Liam's messages. Liam, you are always on my mind, Azalea. I wouldn't know what to do if something happened to you. If you ever needed me, I will always be there. No matter the time of day or night. You just have to ask, beautiful. I was really happy you called me last night when you needed someone. I want to be the person you rely on. I took a deep breath and calmed myself completely. I was just on edge after last night. Nothing ever happens around here. I read Liam's messages again. I knew he was opening a door for me to call him and have him come over, and it was very tempting. But I knew that would be moving too fast for us. Me, you really know how to make a girl swoon, Liam. I was happy I called you too. I am getting into bed now, and we should both get some sleep. I will be excitedly waiting for dinner tomorrow. Sweet dreams. With that, I turned the phone off and climbed into bed. I nestled into my pillow that still had his scent clinging to it and let myself fall into a comfortable sleep. The next morning, I woke in a cheerful mood. I was excited to see Liam today, and I had everything ready to bake a delicious peanut butter and fudge cake this afternoon. I got out of bed and went to the bathroom to hop in the shower. After getting out, I wrapped my hair in a towel and went to my closet. I grabbed a pair of capris and a flowy top and got dressed. Afterward, I went to the bathroom and pulled my hair into a Dutch braid with a ribbon securing it at the end. Before leaving my apartment, I grabbed my phone and turned it on. To my pleasant surprise, I had a text message from Liam. Liam, good morning, beautiful. I should be at the inn by 4:30 this afternoon. Can't wait to see you. This just added to my excitement and good mood. I grabbed my MP3 player and headphones and headed up to the inn. When I got into the kitchen, Amy was bustling around getting the breakfast menu into serving trays. Good morning, I chirped, making my way to the coffee machine. Yeah, it will be if you help me get these trays out to the dining room, she said. Yeah, that is a no-go. As soon as Lemon gets here, I need to start cleaning rooms, I said. I did not want to explain the whole Gwen situation to Amy. I walked over to the fridge and pulled out a small yogurt. I opened it, tossed a few blueberries on top, then left the kitchen with my coffee. Why do you hate me? Amy called after me. I giggled as I made my way to the front desk. I sat down on the little stool to eat my yogurt. It was almost 7 a.m., so Lemon should be getting here anytime. After I finished my breakfast, I made a to-do list for Lemon and myself while sipping my coffee. Just as I was finishing up, the front door opened, and I looked up to see Lemon rushing in, her silky black hair flying everywhere. Sorry, Leah, she said, rushing behind the desk. No worries. I've just been having some coffee and getting us organized today. Do you think you can handle a clean through of the lobby and sitting areas while I tackle the rooms and laundry? We have a plumber coming later as well, but he won't need anything from us other than the room key. Yeah, totally. How many check-ins do we have today? She asked, taking her coat off. We have 4 checkouts and 3 check-ins. 2 or 3 of these should be leaving right after breakfast, so be ready, I told her. Easy day, she said with a smile. Hey, do you think I can grab some breakfast before you leave me? I was out late last night with my girlfriends and slept too long this morning, she asked. Sure. How about I go ask Amy to bring you a plate out? I need more coffee anyway, I suggested. You are so awesome, Leah. Thanks, she said cheerily. I grabbed her jacket to throw in the office and made my way to the kitchen. Hey Amy, do me a favor and make Lemon a plate of food. She was partying again last night and didn't have breakfast on her way here, I said as I entered the kitchen. I immediately stopped seeing a raging Amy aggressively cooking something at the stove. Whoa, what's going on? I asked her. Some skank is complaining about the food. The nerve, really. It's a complimentary breakfast buffet, not a damn 5-star restaurant. Ugh, she fumed. Just breathe. I am sure she didn't sleep well and woke up on the wrong side of the bed. It probably has nothing to do with your cooking, I tried to assure her. She could get very emotional when people complained about her cooking. Yes, I will bring sweet, irresponsible Lemon a plate to the front desk when I am done remaking an entire meal for one lousy winner, she thundered. I knew that was my cue to let her be. Sometimes, She just needed to work it out and could not be talked down. I put my coffee cup in the sink, deciding it wasn't too necessary, and left the kitchen to go to the laundry room. I couldn't start cleaning rooms until guests checked out anyway. I turned on my MP3 player and busied myself with washing and folding linens. I was determined that today would be a good day, ending with a fantastic dinner with Liam, even if Gwen were here at the inn. Chapter 22. I was able to fly under the radar all day and avoid Gwen. I got my whole to-do list taken care of, baked a decadent peanut butter cake with fudge icing, and even caught up on a little bit of paperwork the old man was behind on. It was just about 4 p.m., and I was back in my apartment freshening up before dinner. I planned on going up to the front desk so I could meet Liam when he arrived. I had butterflies filling my nervous stomach. I heard a knock at my door, and I opened it to see John standing there with a huge grin on his face. "Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?" he chirped. "Hi, John. How are you?" I greeted him. "Much better now, Miss Leah. I was wondering if you could possibly join me for dinner this evening. I have missed seeing your face these past few days and would love to catch up." "Oh, John, I am so sorry. I have a guest coming for dinner. It's not that large fellow, is it?" he said in a serious tone. He stood a little taller as he said it, almost as if Liam angered him in some way. If you mean the man you have met a few times now, yes, actually," I said nervously. "Miss Leah, I got to be honest with you. I don't like that guy much. I am pretty good at judging people, and I don't like what I see with him." "Well, John, that is unfortunate. Liam is a wonderful man, and I do not think it's fair for you to judge him without knowing him, to be honest. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to finish getting ready and head back up to the inn," I said to him, a little angry now. No, his first impression of Liam that day in the dining room wasn't great, but he had no right to judge him. "I am sorry, Miss Leah. Forgive me." "I will see you later, okay?" he said. "Sure," I said shortly, closing my front door in his face. I grabbed my things and checked the front window to make sure John was gone. After seeing the coast was clear, I made my way back over to the inn. Liam. It had been a long night and day, but luckily, Azalea stayed in the inn all day. Damien had come and relieved me to watch over her for a few hours so I could sleep. I was now headed over to the inn in my SUV. It was still a tad early, but I hoped she wouldn't be upset. Gavin was restless, and I needed to see her. I parked in the lot, noticing one of the packed cars parked there. Good, there were still wolves at the inn. Hopefully, they would be discreet this evening if they came down for dinner. I made my way inside and approached the front desk. The same black-haired girl that flirted with Damien and me when we stopped for lunch was behind the desk. "Hello, welcome to the Blue Moon Inn. Are we checking in or here for dinner?" she asked in a sweet voice. "I am actually meeting someone for dinner. I can just wait up here for her," I told her. "I can seat you in the dining room if you wish," she said, batting her eyelashes at me. I fought the urge to roll my eyes at her. "That is all right. I am a bit early." "I am sure she will be here any minute," I said, hoping she would drop it. "All right then. My name is Lemon. If you need something, don't hesitate to ask," she said with a wink. I gave her a tight smile and walked towards the sitting area near the dining room. Hopefully, Azalea would pop in here soon, so this lemon girl would stop ogling me. "Liam?" I heard a voice come from behind. My eyes grew wide as I turned around and saw Gwen descending the staircase. What the hell? Why in the world would Damien send Gwen here? He knows how she is about me. "Gwen, what are you doing here?" I hissed, coming closer to her. Lily needed wolves to come watch over the humans, so she sent me. "Brandon is here too." "What are you doing here?" she asked, running her hand up my chest. I grabbed her hand, stopping her advance. "Stop now, Gwen. I am not here for that." "I am, here on business," I lied. "Liam, I know when you're lying. We grew up together." "Why are you really here?" she said, yanking her hand from my grip. I sighed, running my hand through my hair. "Goddess, why did Lily have to send Gwen last night? She really couldn't find anyone else?" Before I could answer, I heard a small ahem and looked over to see Azalea standing by the dining room. "Shit," I breathed as I looked from Gwen to Azalea. She looked scared, standing there staring at Gwen and me. Her eyes almost looked hurt at the same time. I had planned on telling her about everything on our next date. I didn't think she would recognize anyone sent out here, and the patrols were told to be extremely discreet. Liam, is that? Gwen started, but I cut her off with a growl. Go now. Do not speak to either of us, and keep your questions to yourself. I linked her. She crossed her arms and scowled at me before turning around and walking back up the stairs. I looked over to Azalea, who was shaking slightly. I walked over to her and reached out my hand to hold her face. Azalea, I can explain, I said quietly. She swallowed and stayed silent. Look, some things have gotten complicated with the pack. I was going to explain everything to you, just not tonight. I had no idea she was going to be here. I would have never sent Gwen of all people here, I said, looking into her large green eyes. She looked down and shook her head like she was composing herself. She took a deep breath before quietly saying, It's okay. It isn't my business. She is a guest here. I put my finger under her chin and lifted her gaze to mine. I could see tears brimming in her eyes. Azalea, she won't do anything to you, I promise. I won't let her near you. I won't let her tell anyone who or where you are. I promise, baby. I am so sorry. She nodded her head, then stepped forward, closing the distance between us. She buried her head in my chest and wrapped her arms around my stomach. I immediately wrapped her in my arms and held her close. How about we go somewhere else for dinner? We don't have to stay here with Gwen, I suggested quietly to her. She pulled away and said, Are you sure that's okay? Of course. If it scares you to be here with her, then we won't stay. Thank you, she said with a small smile on her lips. Do you need anything before we go? I asked. Her eyes grew wide. Wait right here, she exclaimed as she darted back to the kitchen. I stood there waiting for her return. I would need to link Damien later about Gwen. I looked over to the front desk and caught Lemon giving me a sour look. I chuckled to myself. I guess she didn't think Azalea would be her competition. Azalea re-emerged a few minutes later. Ready to go? I asked. She nodded her head with a big smile. I held my hand out and she grabbed it with her small, soft one immediately. I momentarily basked in the pleasurable sparks that erupted from her touch. I turned to lead us out, ignoring the death glare Gwen was giving me from the staircase. Where the fuck are you going with her? Gwen linked me. I blocked her out and focused my attention on Azalea. So, is there anywhere in town you would like to go? I asked her. There were not too many options as this was a very small town. There is an Italian restaurant a couple of blocks that way, she said, pointing. Italian sounds great, I said with a smile. She seemed to relax more the further we got away from the inn. We made our way to the little Italian restaurant. We got ourselves a table and ordered dinner. We fell into easy and comfortable conversation after the waitress left that continued throughout the meal. She talked animatedly about the inn and books she had read recently. I was completely enraptured with everything she said. We were in our own world and everything was perfect until we had finished dinner. The waitress brought a couple of coffees as we showed no signs of leaving yet. I planned on leaving a large tip for taking up a table all evening. Just then, John Henry walked up to the table. Well, fancy this, Miss Leah. We meet again, he said to Azalea, doing his best not to acknowledge me. I growled low enough that he would not be able to hear with human hearing. As I did, I saw his ear twitch ever so slightly. Hi, John, she said coolly. Oh, I don't mean to interrupt or anything. Just grabbing some takeout tonight, he said. Turning to me, he continued, I don't believe we have had the formal pleasure yet. My name is John Henry. I am a friend of Miss Lee's here in town. He held his hand out to me. I looked at his hand. If he was a friend of hers, I should play it nice. But something was off about him. Grabbing his hand, I said, Nice to formally meet you. Liam Blackburn. Pleasure is all mine. How do you know our sweet little flower? He asked. She gave him a curious look before looking at me. We were childhood acquaintances. Now, if you do not mind, we were just about to pay our bill and leave, I said, standing up. I pulled my wallet out and dropped money on the table, more than enough to cover our meal and a large tip. I held out my hand to Azalea, saying, Shall we, beautiful? She smiled and grabbed my hand. As she stood, I wrapped my arm around her waist. I nodded at John and began to steer her toward the door. As we left the restaurant, Gavin was in my head yelling at me to go back and rip him to shreds for laying eyes on our mate. Azalea. I am so sorry about that, I said quietly to Liam, embarrassed about John interrupting us. It's not your fault. I just don't like the way he looks at you, he told me. I don't really blame him. John has been acting odd ever since Liam showed up. He removed his hand from my waist and entangled his fingers in mine. I happily held his hand and moved closer to his body. Now that the sun had set, it was getting a little colder out. I gripped his arm with my other hand as we walked. He looked down at me with a sweet smile on his lips. So, what now? He asked. Well, I set aside some dessert for us back at the inn. All the guests should be clear of the dining room now, I said, hoping he would want to come back with me. I really wanted him to try some of the cake. His face broke out into a giant grin. You made dessert especially for me, he asked excitedly. I nodded my head, blushing a bit. Do I get to know what it is? He asked, still excited. I thought for a moment and shook my head. No, I think it should be a surprise, I said with a smile. Let's get a move on then, he said happily. He picked up our pace so that I was almost jogging, my short legs struggling to keep up with him. On the other hand, he looked like he was just casually strolling down the street. After a few minutes, I had to slow him down. Liam, can we stop running? I asked, out of breath. Oh goddess, I am sorry, Azalea. I forgot about you being smaller than me, he said, slowing down his pace. Thank you, I said, trying to catch my breath. He just chuckled at me. Before I knew it, we were back at the inn. When we got to the front door, he opened it for me and bowed like a gentleman. I giggled and led the way inside. As we walked through the front, we heard a voice speak up. Liam, why in the fuck are you flaunting around with a traitor? Chapter 23. Liam, why in the fuck are you flaunting around with a traitor? Gwen said, standing up from an armchair in the sitting area. Goddess, why can't she just listen? Azalea stopped and turned to her, slowly paling as the blood drained from her face. Her eyes were wide, and she began to shake a little. I stepped in front of her, blocking her from Gwen's view. I told you to drop it, Gwen. This is none of your concern, I said to her, my anger rising. It does concern me if you are playing around with this little bitch. Seriously, Liam, just because you aren't mated doesn't mean you need to stoop so low, she spat. Hold your tongue now, Gwen, I threatened. We are supposed to be here watching the humans, and I find you here messing around with that wolfless piece of trash. Do you even care about how that looks as alpha? She questioned with nothing but venom in her voice. Gwen, you need to go to your room. Now. You will say nothing more about or to Azalea, and you will be going back to the pack in the morning. Do you understand me? I said, letting my alpha authority out. She could not deny an alpha command. Don't think this is over. I'll be damned if I am going to let this little charade continue, she said as she turned and stomped to the stairs. I stayed rooted to the spot, watching her ascend the stairs. Once she was out of sight, I turned to Azalea. My stomach dropped as I saw the fear on her face. Her eyes were glazed over like she wasn't completely here with me. She did not move as we stood there. My phone rang in my pocket and I silenced it without even looking at who was calling. Moments later, it began to ring again. I pulled it from my pocket, seeing it was Damien. Azalea, I have to take this. Just don't move, okay? Gwen isn't coming back here, I promise. I am just going to stand outside the door. I'll be right back, I told her. She made no motion that she heard me. I sighed and walked to the door. As I looked back, she was hugging her arms to her body. I walked outside and answered my ringing phone. This better be good, I barked. Gwen just called me losing it. I had no idea Lily sent her, man. Yeah, well, any hope I had of getting Azalea to come to the pack is now gone. I am going to fix it. I am sending someone to replace her now, he said quickly. You need to come get your bitch of a little sister. She's lucky I didn't rip her throat out right there. Okay, I will come get her in the morning, he said, trying to appease me. No, get her now. She knows exactly who Azalea is, and she isn't far from connecting the dots to us being mates Damien. Who knows what your crazy sister will do when she finds out? I yelled. My anger continued to rise as all the implications of Gwen finding out who Azalea was and where she was began flooding my mind. She is determined to mate with me, and I wouldn't put it past her to come after Azalea to get what she wants. You're right. I am leaving now. Just get Azalea out of there so Gwen isn't near her anymore. I'll talk to Gwen. Or I will call my dad, he said. She lays a finger on Azalea and being rejected will be a tickle compared to what I do, I threatened. Liam, breathe. Lily didn't know when she sent her. It was the middle of the night and most of the unmated wolves were with us on the hunt. It was an honest mistake. But you gotta calm down, man. You cannot lose it in front of Azalea. He tried to reason with me. I knew he was right. I tried to take a breath and calm myself. Fuck, how do I fix this? She is in there, probably terrified that Gwen is going to attack her. I vented. She's your mate, man. Comfort her. Tell her we are taking Gwen away. You are going to have to tell her what is going on, he said. She's going to freak out. She'll never agree to come to the pack, and she won't feel safe here, I said, beginning to feel a little defeated. Well, there is somewhere you could take that would be in our territory, but far enough from the pack house. She may feel safe, he said. Where? The lake house. It hasn't been used in a while, and your parents don't really go out there, he said. Damien, you're brilliant. Can you send a couple of she-wolves to clean it up and stock the fridge? I think I can get her there pretty quickly, I said with renewed hope. I didn't have to take her back to pack house yet, but I could take her somewhere I could protect her. Yeah, consider it done, man. Go get Azalea. I'll take care of Gwen, he said. Thanks, I said, hanging up the phone. I stepped back into the inn to find Azalea gone. I began to panic a little bit. Where did she go? I quickly made my way back to the kitchen through the entrance behind the front desk. The kitchen was dark except for a small lamp over the prep table. On the prep table sat a covered dish and a couple of plates. Scanning the room, I saw the fridge was open. After a moment, the door closed and Azalea stepped back, holding a couple of small glasses and a jug of milk. She didn't notice me standing there yet. She walked over to the prep table, setting the milk and glasses down. She filled each glass with milk before turning around to grab silverware. She then returned and uncovered the dish. On it was a delectable-looking cake covered in chocolate icing and some light brown decoration. I walked over to her, softly saying, Azalea. She looked up at me with her wide eyes. Her face was a little puffy, evidence of a few tears shed. I approached her and took her face into my hands. Baby, I am so sorry about Gwen. She is leaving tonight. Damien is coming to get her. Don't worry about her. I promise I am going to take care of it. She blinked her long lashes at me. I think we need to talk. There are some things you should probably know. She nodded her head. I looked down at the prep table. Is this the cake you made me? I said as I smelled the air. The cake smelled like peanut butter and chocolate fudge. Yeah, she whispered. I smiled at her. Thank you. It looks amazing. You are amazing, I told her. With that, I bent down and gave her a soft kiss on her pink lips. I released her mouth and said, why don't we take this back to your apartment, and we can talk and eat it there? She nodded her head. I let go of her. She covered the cake and handed me the plate to carry. She grabbed the glasses of milk and headed towards the door. I followed her out of the inn and across the lawn. When we got there, she unlocked the door and walked in first. Stepping into her apartment, I immediately went on alert. Do you smell that? Gavin asked in my head. Yes, it's faint, but someone else has been in here, I said back. I walked over to the counter and set the cake down before turning to Azalea. She had set the glasses of milk down at her desk and stood with her arms hugging her stomach. I walked over to her and wrapped her in my arms. Are you okay? I asked, feeling guilty. I did my best not to let her know that I sensed someone had been in her apartment. No, she whispered as she buried her face in my chest. We had come so far, and the thought of losing her after all this was suffocating. I did not know what to do. I held her for a minute more before she continued, Liam, I am scared. I don't want to lose you. I have never felt like this, and that scares me too. But when you are with me, I am okay. I feel warm inside and safe. Chapter 24. Azalea. I knew I had to tell him. Gwen finding out about us was not what I wanted to happen. Her words shook me to the core. It was physically hurting me to think about Liam rejecting me as his mate. Before I could think about it, I let the words fall out of my mouth. Liam, I am scared. I don't want to lose you. I have never felt like this, and that scares me too. But when you're with me, I am okay. I feel warm inside and safe, I said. He stiffened around me. Then he tightened his grip on me, and I buried myself even deeper into his embrace. He nuzzled the top of my head, and I inhaled deeply, basking in his calming scent. You won't lose me, Azalea. We will figure this out, he said calmly. We stood there embracing each other for what felt like ages. Finally, I pulled away from him and asked, why is she here? Why are there pack members at the inn? He gave me a guilty look. With a sigh, he said, this is going to be a long story. And probably a little jarring. We should sit down. I nodded my head. We moved over to my bed. He climbed on top, sitting his back against my headboard. Before I could get fully on the bed, he picked me up like I was a feather and placed me in his lap. With how serious he was acting, I cannot say that I was complaining about being close to him. He held me close to him, placing his chin on top of my head. I laid my head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat while I waited for answers. Before I start, I need you to know that I will not let anyone or anything hurt you. And I do not give a shit what the rest of the pack thinks. I have every intention of being with you, Azalea. I am not going to leave you unless you send me away. I smiled and nodded my head. He was so reassuring. His words gave me small butterflies in my stomach. There have been a few attacks on our territory lately. Nothing crazy at first. We thought maybe a couple of rogues. But recently, we were led to believe it could be a hunter. He paused. I waited for him to continue. A few nights ago, a neighboring pack was also attacked. Do you remember Alpha Langston from Crystal Waters? I nodded my head. He was a nice man. He had been to the pack house to meet with Alpha Robert and attend gatherings a few times. He always gave me a warm smile and even held the door open for me once. I met with him about all of this. We thought we could monitor the situation, but then attacks became more frequent. We decided to come together for a hunt. Last night, we both brought groups of warriors out to search the territory. Did you catch the hunter? I asked. Not exactly. We found something, but not the hunter. We found a sign on our pack's territory. That sign was a message to me. How do you know it was for you? I asked, confused. Because it had your sweater nailed to it. The one you wore on our date, he said solemnly. My body stiffened. My sweater? How? When? I jumped up from the bed and ran over to my dresser, where my clean laundry was folded in a basket, waiting to be put away. I began digging through the basket. I know I washed it with the rest of my clothes yesterday. I got to the bottom and didn't find the sweater. I looked back to Liam with terror on my features. How? When? I asked, fright evident in my voice. My mind was spinning. Someone had gotten into my apartment. I don't know, but he knows that you are important to me. Does he know what I am? That we are mates? I asked. I don't know. Is that why there are wolves here? Did you send them to watch me? He sighed. Sort of. They do not know that you are my mate or who you are. Well, they weren't supposed to. He got up and came over to me. I sent them here to help watch over you and look for anyone suspicious. There are also patrols running all around town day and night. Damien helped me arrange it. He had Lily help him in order to speed things up, and she sent Gwen, he said cautiously. I promise, neither of us would have sent her here. I wouldn't have sent anyone that would have been able to identify you. Damien? Lily? What are you talking about? I asked, confused. Damien was the beta's son, I knew that. He and Liam were best friends growing up. Damien picked on me, but not nearly as much as his sister Gwen. Oh right, he said, scratching the back of his neck nervously. I had to tell Damien what was going on. I have been gone a lot, and he has been dealing with things in my absence since he is my beta. Lily is his mate. I don't think you knew her growing up. She was a year older than us and never spent much time in the pack house. And don't worry, Damien has already accepted you as my mate. He would never do anything to you, he said, trying to reassure me. Tears threatened to spill from my eyes again. This was all so much. Hunters after Liam? And now they were here and coming after me? And others in the pack knew about Liam and me. Dr. Ronald hasn't even figured out what is wrong with me or how to fix it. I don't know if this hunter will come after you, he said, hanging his head. His message made sure to mention that I couldn't protect you. I wouldn't put it past him to come for you to get to me. Alphas are like ultimate trophies for hunters. So, what do we do? I whispered, not trusting my voice. I think you're going to like this part even less. I need to take you away with me, further into pack territory where I can keep you safe. My mouth dropped open. I needed to go back towards the pack? Back to the people who, like Gwen, rejected my very existence? Listen, he said, reaching out to grab my arms, I am not taking you back to the pack house. I will not make you go there until you want to. I am going to take you to my parents' lake house. They don't use it, and since we all grew up, it is pretty much empty. Damien already sent a few people over to clean it up and stock it for me. We will be safe. And the patrols won't come close enough to know who you are. I nodded my head, trying to process all this. I did not trust myself to speak right now as tears were already threatening to erupt from my eyes. Liam reached up and brushed a few stray hairs from my face and looked into my eyes. Azalea, I will do anything to protect you. I never wanted to force you to do anything you weren't ready for, but I need you to come to the lake house with me, he said, imploring me to understand. I closed my eyes and nodded my head. He pulled me into his chest, kissing the top of my head. Thank you, sweetheart, he whispered. After a few more minutes, I finally broke the silence. Do we have to go tonight? I asked in a barely audible whisper. No, he said. You can stay here tonight. Without thinking, I asked, will you stay with me? He smiled into my hair. Chapter 25. It would be my greatest pleasure, he said. I pulled away from him and looked into his eyes. I could see his worry fogging his beautiful blue eyes. I raised up on my tiptoes, moving my lips towards his. He reacted immediately, lowering his head to mine. He crashed his mouth onto mine, pouring all his emotion into the kiss. Waves of pleasurable heat washed over me as he continued to kiss me. I let out a small sound as we kissed, encouraging him to keep going. He leaned closer and pulled me into a warm embrace. I instinctively wrapped my arms around him as we shared a lingering kiss. The closeness made my heart race, and the moment felt intense and deeply emotional. I wrapped my arms around his neck, and my fingers gravitated to his hair. I ran my fingers through his dark hair. Suddenly, the intensity of the moment caught me off guard, and I gasped, instinctively gripping his hair. Liam held me close as our kiss grew more passionate, leaving me breathless and overwhelmed by the emotions of the moment. One of his hands left its place on my ass and worked its way up my back. He grabbed onto the end of my braid, pulling the elastic off. He worked his hand up, pulling my braid apart and shaking out my long, crimson locks. Then his hand worked its way through my hair and onto the back of my head, holding me impossibly closer to his kiss. I bit his lower lip, earning a playful growl. He pulled me closer before guiding me gently toward the bed, never breaking our kiss. A moment later, we were both on the bed, caught up in the intensity of the moment. Finally breaking our kiss, he brushed a trail of gentle kisses along my jaw and neck. Each one sent a shiver through me, leaving me breathless and overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. I had never felt this kind of connection with anyone before, and the emotions were almost impossible to put into words. Liam, I breathed. He murmured softly against my neck as he continued to kiss me there. I want you, I said breathlessly. He immediately stopped his ministrations on my neck and looked into my eyes, both of us breathing heavily. Kitten, are you sure? He asked. I nodded my head and bit my lip. He gave me a seductive smile and kissed me again. This time his hands began roaming lower and found the hem of my shirt. He slowly began to push my shirt up, revealing my stomach. Once he got high enough, he broke our kiss and started to pull the shirt over my head. After it was off, he threw it to the floor next to us. He looked down at me still in my bra and gave me another growl. His eyes were dark blue and full of lust. He and his wolf have clearly been waiting for this. He removed his shirt and tossed it aside with mine. I looked at him in pure desire. I bit my lip and he smirked cuckily. He leaned forward and kissed me again, this time his hands going around my back to the clasp of my bra. In no time, he had helped me out of my top and set it aside with the rest of our clothes. He paused for a moment, taking in the scene with a satisfied smile. Beautiful, he breathed, then bent down and captured my lips once again. His hands started kneading and feeling my body. I couldn't help but gasp. Every time he touched me, I wanted more. He left my lips once again, trailing gentle kisses along my neck before pulling me closer. His hands moved to my waist as the intensity of the moment grew, leaving me breathless and completely swept up in the closeness between us. I gasped as the intensity of the moment sent a shiver through me. With every touch and kiss, I found myself becoming more breathless, unable to hide how deeply the moment affected me. I could feel his playful smile as he continued, completely caught up in the closeness between us. Finally, he stopped and sat up once again. He helped me out of my capris and set them aside before pulling me into another close embrace. After a moment, he climbed back onto the bed beside me, and we exchanged a nervous, affectionate smile. He kissed me again before saying, "I'm going to take this slow, baby." I nodded my head at him. He began kissing me again, his touch becoming more intense as the moment unfolded. Then he moved lower, leaving me breathless and uncertain of what would happen next. He paused and looked up at me, our eyes meeting in a moment filled with anticipation. "Do you trust me, baby?" he asked, and I nodded at him. He smiled. "Good, just lay back then," he said. He lowered his mouth to my hip bone and started kissing again. I felt completely overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. His kisses sent shivers through me as he moved slowly across my skin and down my leg, leaving me breathless with anticipation. Every touch seemed to heighten the emotions between us. Liam, I whispered, my voice barely above a breath. He moved closer, and the intensity of the moment became almost overwhelming. I gasped as his touch sent a shiver through me, my back arching instinctively. He seemed pleased by my reaction, and I struggled to catch my breath as the tension between us continued to build. "Kitten, you're incredible," he whispered, earning another breathless reaction from me. "Are you ready, baby?" he asked. I looked up at him, surprised by the question. He chuckled softly, then leaned closer. I squeaked in surprise at the unexpected tenderness, overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. "Oh goddess," I breathed, overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. A warm rush of emotion built inside me, leaving me breathless and barely able to think. I began to squirm under his touch. He held me gently but firmly in place, his expression showing that he noticed every reaction. The intensity continued to build, leaving me breathless and overwhelmed by the emotions of the moment. "Oh, Liam," I breathed as the intensity continued to build. I felt completely overwhelmed, and suddenly a wave of emotion washed over me, leaving me trembling and breathless. I closed my eyes and held on to him as the moment finally passed, leaving me utterly spent. Once my body had calmed down, he moved back up to my face. Smiling, he said, "How is that kitten?" All I could muster was a ugh in response. "Liam." I chuckled as I pulled her close to me. I rolled us over so she was lying on my chest. Her face inched towards my neck, snuggling into it. I wrapped her in my arms, cuddling her close to my body. "Don't fall asleep yet," I whispered gently into her head. "Do you think you can walk, baby?" I asked. Even though we hadn't gone any further, I knew this was her first experience with intimacy. I wanted to make sure she was comfortable, cared for, and feeling okay before we settled in for the night. She shook her head. I chuckled. She must still be feeling the after effects. "I guess I'll just have to carry you," I said. I shifted her petite frame over me so that I could sit up with her. Her arms moved around my neck as I sat up and swung my legs over the side of the bed. I stood up with her and headed toward the bathroom. She peered up at me with a curious look. "I don't want you to be sore tomorrow," I said as I set her on the bathroom counter. I made sure she could hold herself up before turning around to run a warm bath. Once I got the water going, I looked around for some soap. I looked over to her, and she pointed at the small cabinet next to her counter. I opened it up, quickly finding some bubble bath. After pouring it into the water, I rid myself of my boxers and went over to her. I could tell I was still caught up in the moment, and she gave me a wide-eyed look. I chuckled softly. "Don't worry, baby. I told you we can take it slow. Besides, I didn't come prepared, and I want to make sure we're both comfortable before going any further." She shook her head, blushing. I scooped her up again and walked over to the bath. Slowly, I lowered us into the water, letting her stretch out in my lap. She sighed contentedly. We sat there for a bit, enjoying the warmth of the water. I slowly and softly caressed her body, starting at her thighs and moving my way up to her shoulders. She made the cutest humming sound as I rubbed her body. "Feel good?" I asked her. "Yes," she said. We cuddled in the bath a while longer. I loved having her close, and I wanted her to feel safe and cared for. I knew we had shared an intense first experience, so I was in no rush. We could take things slowly and let our relationship develop naturally, one step at a time. As the bubbles faded away and the bath grew cold, I decided we should get out and head to bed. "We should get out now. Do you think you can stand?" I asked her. She said with sleepiness in her eyes. We both stood up and climbed out of the tub. She pulled the plug to drain the water while I grabbed a couple of towels. I slung one around my waist, then wrapped her in one. She went to her counter and pulled out a hair tie, pulling her long waves into a lopsided, messy bun on top of her head. We exited the bathroom when she stopped. "You don't have any clean clothes here," she said, worried. "Don't you worry about that," I said, walking over to the door. I opened it to find my bag sitting on the front step. Damien had linked me that he was leaving my bag back here, knowing I would be staying. I turned around, shutting the door behind me. "How did you do that?" she asked. I winked at her. "I have my ways." She rolled her eyes and moved over to her dresser to find clothes. I set my bag down and dug out some clean underwear and shorts. I dropped my towel and quickly dressed. When I turned around, she was holding her clothes with a giant blush across her face. "I am gonna," she said, pointing to the bathroom. I nodded at her, holding back a laugh. Now she was shy. She went to the bathroom and closed the door. While I waited for her, I picked up our clothing from earlier. I put her clothes into her hamper and my own in my bag. I grabbed my phone and sat on the bed. Now was about as good a time as any to check in with Damien. I dialed his number and waited. He didn't answer, but I immediately got his link. "I can't exactly talk at the moment," he said. "Gwen is screaming her head off in the car right now." "So, you got her out of here?" I asked. "Yeah, and I will make sure she doesn't come back," he said. "Great, thanks. Has anyone gone to the lake house yet?" "Yeah, should be ready by morning. Whenever you can convince her." I did already. She isn't thrilled, but agreed to go with me. "Good, we can protect her there. You can't tell Gwen where we will be. Neither can Lily. Don't worry, way ahead of you." I also spoke with the little old man that runs the inn. "Did you know he is a wolf too?" "Haha, yes, actually, I did." "Well, I am gonna send a few she-wolves out here to help replace Azalea until all this is over. Figured we should not just take away his only real help. Doesn't look like he can climb the stairs, let alone actually run the inn." "Thanks, man." "Of course. She's my Luna man. Obviously, I am going to help my best friend protect her. I don't deserve such a good beta. You can make it up to me sometime. You coming back before going to the lake house?" "No. Can you send some stuff over there for me?" "Yeah, no worries. Just get your girl safe, okay? The patrols are checking into a few possibilities on the hunter identity." "That's fantastic. Keep me updated." With that, I broke the link. I am sure he had his hands full enough with Gwen raging in the seat next to him. Right at that moment, the bathroom door opened and Azalea emerged. I would never get over the fact that every time I laid my eyes on her, she took my breath away. She came over to me wearing a plain white t-shirt with some green and blue plaid pajama shorts. Her skin looked pale and soft under her clothing, and my fingers itched to touch her again. "All set, baby?" I asked. She nodded her head as she came over to sit in my lap. I kissed her cheek affectionately as I maneuvered us onto the bed. She was so small that holding her was like nothing. We laid on our sides facing each other as I held her in my arms. I kissed her forehead one more time, whispering, "Good night, Azalea," as her eyelids drooped. I buried my nose in her hair as I waited for sleep to come, too.